What's up guys, how's it going? My name is Lost and welcome back to another Kingdom Hearts Kingdom Cards video. So guys, it is February 25th, 2019 over there in Japan, and with that we got our usual Sunday updates, which today's update, it's a little bit interesting because it's mainly focused on VIP, so I'm sorry to my free-to-play players out there, but if you're curious to know about the two medals that we got this morning within VIP, then definitely stay tuned because we're going to be talking about both specifically because I've seen so many mixed reviews about the medals themselves. Some people saying they're trash, some people saying that it's good. Of course, to each their own, you know, depending on your gameplay, how I guess you play the game and whatnot, really just depends on how you see or perceive the medal. So I'm gonna give my thoughts and opinions and kind of show some Keyblade setups as to how you could potentially use some of these medals, even though for me personally, I will say right now that one of the medals is good, the other one's I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, but I'm more leaning to it's meh. So let's go ahead and jump into it, guys. As always, shout out to Overwrites and to Ryuji for allowing me to use their translations in my update videos. You can always find them on Discord or Overwrites on Twitter. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for some more future JP update videos or just Kingdom Hearts videos in general. So a little plug right there. I usually don't like plugging myself too much, but I know that there are a lot of people that you know, based on my analytics to the channel, not a lot of people actually are subscribed to the channel whenever they do watch my update videos. I don't know if maybe they forget or I guess they choose not to, but kind of wanted to throw that in there. As much as I don't like doing it, because I usually say that towards the end, but kind of just want to give a quick reminder to everybody, especially anybody who's new to the channel and decides to watch the video. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into it after my terrible plug. It feels weird for me saying that. Anyways, though, let's go and talk about the return of the Sora and Peter Pan. I believe this is the last time we should be seeing this Sora and Peter Pan medal returning to VIP. Again, though, guys, I mean, this medal is going to be good for the next, like, what, 3 or 4 days. So after that, though, I mean, this medal is either good for sub slots or it will be good as a buffer depending on what traits you have on the medal itself. So if you do pick up VIP, you do get a 7-star and of course 5 copies of the trait medals of Sora and Peter Pan. Now the next thing that we're going to talk about is one of the 2 medals that came with this week's VIP, which is going to be Ansem the Wise B. Now, along with 1400 jewels, if you do decide to buy VIP, you do get 8 trait medals for Ansem the Wise B, and then of course 2 6-star versions of Ansem the Wise. I'm just showing it to Ansem because I'm already tired of saying Ansem the Wise B. So Ansem, he is a tier 8 medal, upright magic, 0 gauges. Multiplier at a 7-star is 36.43 to 43.83. I feel like that multiplier at this point in time in the game is pretty average for most medals nowadays. It is a single target, and for 1 turn, overwrites. Yes, overwrites, which is the big thing that kind of deters me from not going too crazy with this medal, is that it overwrites magic attack by +10, overwrites the enemy's power attack to -5, overwrites the enemy's magic defense to -10, and damage scales higher with more gauges remaining, and it does 11 hits. Now the Superburst ability, which of course does require the dual Mirror Wows, the multiplier attack is at 100. It is a single target Superburst attack, and for 1 turn debuffs the enemy's general attack by 5 tiers. Increments and enemies counters by +5. In PvP, this ability activates on slot 5. Now, this medal, out of the 2 medals that we got in this week's VIP, I feel like this one, I don't know. The override ability, like, I'm gonna just be perfectly honest. The override ability kind of kills it for me because, yeah, it can be used if used correctly in some situations. Like, I mean, since this game is more focused on PvP, and I mean, I feel like everybody can agree with me on that when it comes to like medal releases and whatnot. If you were to take this medal into PvP, really the only way I can see this medal being used is, say we had like a 3 Keyblade PvP week. You can easily throw this medal into like your dummy Keyblade, you know, the Keyblade that you just throw in there if you want to try to do like a status ailment type setups, if you're trying to debuff them so that way they won't be at the maxed out amount of buffs that they are trying to put themselves in. But the thing is though, with the override ability, I can understand this being a little bit better if it was plus 15 magic attack, maybe minus 10 or 15 power attack, and then of course the minus 10 I feel like should have been at a minus 15. Then it would have been a little bit better, but I still feel like it's not enough for me to be like, hey, this medal is not, I mean, it's not that bad, you know. I'm not gonna say that it's the greatest if it had that plus 15, minus 10 or 15, and then of course the magic defense at minus 15. So in my opinion though, I mean, this could be used if you decide to use the dual Meowas after you evolve into a 7-star, blah 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 blah. You can kind of use it as a tanking type medal with that Superburst ability, but again, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like this medal right here, it's kind of like something to throw in there if you were to focus more on PvP. When it comes to like any other events, maybe if you're trying to, say, be able to tank a enemy's hits for like certain events outside of PvP, I don't think Coliseum this medal is really going to shine, because I feel like it's going to interrupt the buffs and the debuffs you got going on whenever you're facing up against high leveled enemies. So this medal is definitely a no in my opinion when it comes to Coliseum. But like maybe some certain events this medal could be useful. I mean, the multiplier is not bad. Honestly, if this medal did not have that override ability, then it would be a much better medal. But again, it really just depends on what situation you're running into, what kind of event you're doing. This medal right here though, I feel like it's probably, actually no, this medal in my opinion is probably the worst one out of the 2 VIP medals that we got today, just because of that override ability. That's what kills it for me, is the overrides. So and again, yeah, they could have changed it up to like, say, max plus 15, minus 15, minus 15, etc. But still, it's just that override just kind of kills it for me. So, but let me know in the comment section below, because again, I know that people have been having mixed feelings about it, but you guys let me know as well. The next medal that we're going to be talking about, which came included within VIP, is going to be the Superburst KH3 Ansem. So I believe this is the first medal, and let me know if I'm wrong, because I honestly cannot remember. I think this is the first Superburst medal that comes behind a VIP paywall. So if you usually buy VIP and if you don't have a medal, and this is of course quoting a line that was said in the Discord server by Roboloid. He made a good point about this. But if you were to grab VIP and you get everything that you need to get the Superburst Ansem, the big benefit out of that is that with his Superburst ability, you'll be able to get that that increase in guild by 200, and of course with the dual Meowas 250%. So if you haven't been able to get any of the most recent tier 9 medals, because this medal right here is actually a tier 9, then you can actually benefit from getting that increased damage in guild to all of your medals once you activate his Superburst ability. But with the Superburst KH3 Ansem, again, he is a tier 9 medal. Reverse power, 5 gauges multiplier at a 7-star is 40.10 to 43.43. I feel like that's not too bad for a VIP medal. Honestly, it could have been worse. Because usually when it comes to VIP medals and their multipliers, as of late, their multipliers has not been that crazy high. It's usually under the 40 multiplier. So for it being above the 40 multi, I feel like it's a good enough multiplier for myself to use, because you guys know how it is for myself. I usually put a kind of like a set of rules on myself on how I use medals, which medals I want to use, which medals I really want to focus on, especially medals that you get from banners, because if they don't have a certain amount of multiplier, yeah, they can last you for a little bit. If, take example, you take the medals to Coliseum, but at some point that high multiplier is not going to help you out, and you're only going to be doing 1 damage. So keep that in mind though, for anybody else. I don't know if maybe anybody else has that similar type of mindset as I do. The ability is, it is a random target, but of course you can change that with Nominate EX Kai, which is the medal that makes any medal used after that AoE. For 1 turn, buffs reverse general power attack by 2 tiers, debuffs the enemy's reverse power defense by 2 tiers, raises the guilt of all medals by 160%, damage scales higher with more gauges remaining, and it does 4 hits. The Superburst ability, Multiplier, at the start is at 140, and then of course once you use the dual Meows, it is at 180. It is an AoE Superburst attack and raises the guilt of all medals by 200, 250 on upgrade. In PvP, this ability activates on slot 5. So I know that I already saw in the Discord servers, my server, and then a few others, that some people are like, oh my god, this medal's trash, etc, etc, blah 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 blah. Here's how I look at it, and I feel like I repeat myself so many times because and honestly it feels like I'm just defending the medals all the time, but this is how I look at a medal first before I look at what his ability does and whatnot. The first thing that I usually look at is the multiplier. I look at the multiplier, then I look at the ability, then I look at the supernova ability, and then of course, well, I mean gauges at this point. There ain't really no reason for me to look at gauges because we have so many medals that can easily, you know, take that away. But of course, that also depends on if there is a negative when it comes to the gauge in the ability of a medal. So that's how I look at it. So multiplier, ability, supernova ability, because I mean nowadays with the whole dual Meows, heavy metal has supernova, and then, you know, of course gauges. Now if you were to put this medal in a Keyblade setup, so let's use because I don't have the medal in this in my main account, because you guys already know I'm done putting I'm done putting money into the game. But if per se you wanted to do like a setup real quick and you wanted to use Kingdom Hearts 3 Ansem in a Keyblade setup, so let's go ahead, let's make a quick little setup just to kind of give you guys an idea of how I am looking at things, right? So imagine if, say, like you have a whole bunch of medals before, you have like a lot of medals, etc, etc. What you could do per se, like let's take example for myself. My Xion right here, yeah, well, I mean, aside from the traits, the thing is though, my Xion does not have extra attack, right? But she does almost give like the buffs max at max, almost. But there are still other medals that will continue to add on to make sure that you get the maximum buffs. What you could do as an example, guys, and I know not everybody is going to have every single medal that you see right here. Again, this is just an example. You know, the medals, the 2 sapphires that I had, they could be some other medals that you have or that you currently use. But again, that's just an example. I gotta push that because I know a lot of people are like, I don't have this medal. You know, you suck. You know, just like stupid shit like that. But so take example right here. Of course, you have the Xion medal, which will give me my basic buffs and the whole debuffs, etc, blah 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 blah. And then just imagine the Ansem medal. I don't know, let's see if I can find me a random Ansem medal, just so that you know, I won't forget what the hell I'm talking about. So let's put a SB Ansem on there. So we got Ansem on there, the new one, the Superburst one. What you can do is honestly 2 things. You can treat this medal as just a damage dealing medal, because if per se you had this medal right here or right here, at this point in time you already should have all of your buffs and debuffs by the time you get to Superburst Kingdom Hearts 3 Ansem. Now if you wanted to take advantage of his buffs and debuffs, even if it's +2, and if you do manage to get extra attack, whether you have extra attack or not, you can easily put him here, you can easily put him there, and you can kind of treat him not only as a damage dealer but also as a buffer to give you that extra maximum buffs, so that way you can have the max debuffs. And if say you don't have the max buffs and debuffs, by the time you start getting to your other reverse medals that will add on to the buffs to try to get that max amount of buffs and debuffs, so that way you can do the maximum amount of damage to the enemies, you know, you're gonna be doing that max amount of damage. So when I look at medals like this, when I look at medals that have when it has like low buffs and debuffs on like, say, take, you know, specifically VIP medals, because I know not every VIP medal is not like the strongest thing in the world. But when it comes to that multiplier, that's what kind of makes me, that's what tells me like, okay, the ability is not all that crazy, right? But the thing is, once you get all your buffs and everything, you can easily treat this as a damage dealing medal. That's the way that I see it. And I don't know if anybody else sees it that way, but you know, that's just the way that I look at it. I kind of think ahead of myself and, you know, start thinking like, okay, the ability is not ooh la la, right? But that multiplier though, that multiplier is still pretty good. It's above that range of that rule range. Well, that's a terrible that's a terrible placement of words, but like the set of rules that I have in myself with the multipliers and whatnot, I still think it's a very good medal. And in my opinion though, if you do decide that you wanted to buy VIP, or if you are kind of like debating as to whether or not you should, I mean, you do get 1,400 jewels out of this. But not only that though, you do get 2 VIP medals, one of them which is the Superburst Kingdom Hearts 3 Ansem, would be like the best one out of both of them in my opinion. But let me know in the comment section below, because I'm curious to know, because again, I've seen so many mixed feelings about these two medals. So let me know in the comment section below how you feel about both of these medals themselves. So the final thing, after I'm like defending the hell out of Ansem, is going to be a small event that came out. Let me get to the right screen. It's a beginner-friendly event. Get Huey, Dewey, and Louie medals, Chips and Dales, and a mini sun visor. So my boy Spinebreaker is definitely gonna enjoy doing this quest if he's still playing KHUx. Cause I think he actually, no, I'm not gonna spoil that. I actually kind of did. I don't know if he's still playing KHUx or not, because I mean, you know how this game is, well, as of late, so it's just battles. Yeah. The mini sun visor boosts the rare encounter rate by +4, if you're curious to know. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Again, let me know in the comment section below how you feel about these 2 VIP medals. I personally feel like it would be worth getting at least a Superburst Kingdom Hearts 3 Ansem, because you do get a Superburst ability out of that, and of course you do get a pretty good medal in my opinion. And then of course, well, Ansem the Wise B, it's, yeah, I don't know, I'm just gonna straight say that it's bad. Unless of course for certain situations where, but anyways, I'm done with the ranting. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for some more future Kingdom Hearts Union Cross updates. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.